Hi everyone, and welcome back to the 5-Minute Teen Newscast. Today we're going to bring down a big global topic that might seem daunting to us at first, and that is imports and exporting, and basically kind of the trade policies that are happening right now in our political environment, and talking about how that can be relevant in our society and specifically for teens today. So, you've probably interacted with something that has been imported or that will be exported by that company in the future just today. It could be your water bottle, such as your Stanley or your Owala. It could be your makeup products, your wallet. Everything that you basically touch because of globalization today has been imported into the US, or that company in the future will export it to different countries to trade. But what exactly is the process of transporting these valuable items and products? We're going to explore that today. And we're also going to explore some of the specific policies that are occurring in society today through Trump's presidency, and also what that relationship looks like with China and what kind of effects that has on our daily lives as teens. Trade. What does it exactly mean? It basically means that countries exchange goods the same way people do. If I were to give my clothes to someone else, just that is a trade transaction, and that is how countries interact with each other, by giving each other products or clothes or foods to one another as a trade, or essentially any kind of exchange. So basically, as you may know, China manufactures a lot of the world's products and consumer products very cheaply. And so the US buys those products, imports them, and that brings down prices for many American shoppers. So far, this sounds pretty simple and seems like a pretty good trade-off or exchange, because we are getting products at a lower price and China seems to be gaining profit from that. However, there is a tariff, and a tariff is essentially a tax that US places on imported goods. That tariff is kind of like the government saying, if you want to sell this backpack to our country, you have to pay extra to do so. While tariffs are meant to protect American jobs, pressure China to follow certain trade rules, and make the US less dependent on foreign manufacturing, it can have negative side effects, which are affecting teens today and everyone in society today as well. This is because companies almost always pass these extra costs and tariffs onto us as consumers rather than the governments that trade the products. Maybe you don't necessarily shop in Shein or Temu or specifically Chinese brands or Chinese manufacturers. However, places like Amazon, places like Target, all of these stores that we have in America, their products are essentially derived from manufacturers, and those manufacturers are likely not all American and could be Chinese. So, electronics have been getting more expensive. That means phones, cameras, earbuds, chargers, almost all require Chinese-made components. And so when tariffs rise, so do those prices for other goods. And clothing brands also raise prices very quietly. Even American brands source fabrics or zippers or generally anything that the clothing is made out of from China. And when they face tariffs, they either increase prices or lower quality. This also leads to an extreme fast fashion epidemic in the clothing industry. Tariffs on traditional manufacturing made ultra-cheap online retailers even more popular, which feeds teen overconsumption. This creates what economists call the high turnover consumer cycle, which is especially prevalent in the teen overconsumption cycle we've been seeing. We basically buy more, the quality is horrible, so they wear out fast, you buy again, and companies profit from fast cycles. Why do we continue this cycle? Why, if we know this information, which I'm sure many of you guys are already informed upon, why do we click buy now rather than continuing to think about our choices? It's that marketers and advertisers are also part of this general scheme of fast fashion. Apps use behavioral cues like countdown timers, free shipping thresholds, coupons, trending now labels to make you purchase fast. But the issue is that because media and economics are so tied together, we need to be able to see these cues as warning labels rather than blings. What I mean by that is when you see a sales pitch online or something bright and flashy, you should see that as a warning rather than as a good sign. Media and marketing is used to fuel companies, not the consumers. And this overconsumption cycle is going to only continue if we fall into those behavioral cues and traps. I know that in our daily lives, we use Instagram and TikTok and all these different social medias where there are so many influencers. And influencers, while they share parts of their lives, are also marketers and economists in some ways as well, because brands use these micro-influencers to make trends spread faster and basically support their products. This advertising, coupon, and just continually being marketed by every part of our lives feeds continually into this overconsumption cycle, which is why we need to stay wary of social media and media in general when making financial decisions as teens. So lastly, what can we do truly after knowing this information? It's that one, I would check what the price actually means about the product. If something is kind of unreasonably cheap, it should be a warning sign to you as to where they're getting this from. How long will this product last? And how quickly will I get tired of this and purchase the next new cheap thing? Secondly, notice digital nudges that a website, an influencer, or social media is throwing at you when they're trying to advertise a product. Maybe it's something very subtle like, oh, this is a staple part of my morning routine, and they add like sparkly text, or they have a 24 hours you have to buy it now or else you won't get this 50% off coupon. I know that happens to me so many times where I'm pressured under a time constraint to buy something. But again, that type of financial pressure should not be put upon you by these industries. And knowing this information, you should know that they are pushing on you bad quality items in order to get you to buy faster, or throw away faster, and buy again. And thirdly, I just want to empower you as a consumer, because the economy is essentially powered by us as consumers. It may seem kind of odd for you as an individual to stop purchasing from fast fashion or stop purchasing quickly when you feel pressured to. But the thing is, if we each individually as teens empower ourselves and know that our choices matter and know that our choices can actually make an impact on what is going on in the world, because teens are essentially 21% of the consumer population, we can truly have an impact on the imports and exports and the tariffs and the prices of our society and our state. And so I empower you to make responsible financial decisions and to be thinking about what you guys are consuming. Thanks for listening to the 5-Minute Teen Newscast, and thank you for listening to the end. If you like this episode, share it with a friend who might be buying something on TikTok Shop right now. And stay tuned, because your world is a lot bigger than just one decision that you make. But your one decision can truly have an impact on the bigger world around you. Stay empowered, and bye.